They're leaving the field in the middle of the game. No way they're leaving the game. Nah, bro. They shouldn't leave, man. Always think it through, bro. He can always say this penalty.
I've been informed of the ruling by the CAF Appeals Board.
Senegal won the Africa Cup of Nations. 58 days later, the news now is that final result has been overturned in a major ruling. Senegal now declared to have forfeited the match, and Morocco have been declared winners of the Africa Cup of Nations.
That's mad though, isn't it? If you're Senegalese, you'd be like, I've been celebrating that for 4 months.
Imagine winning a continental championship on the pitch, lifting the trophy in front of millions and celebrating for 2 months, only to have it stripped away in a boardroom. On March 17, 2026, the Confederation of African Football dropped a bombshell that permanently altered the history of the sport. They officially stripped the Senegal national team of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations title, awarding it instead to the hosts Morocco via a 3-0 forfeit. This isn't just about a disputed penalty. This is a story of a 20-minute walkout, a shockingly arrogant Panenka, over $1 million in fines, and a legal loophole that turned a 1-0 extra-time victory for Senegal into a 3-0 championship win for Morocco. To understand the magnitude of CAF's verdict, we have to go back to the night of January 18, 2026. The stage was the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat. The hosts, Morocco, were carrying the weight of a 50-year AFCON drought. Across the pitch stood Senegal, the reigning kings of African football who were desperate to cement their golden generation's legacy. For 90 minutes, it was a tactical chess match. It was physical, grueling, and incredibly tense. But as the clock ticked past the 90-minute mark, the football match ended, and the madness began. In the 92nd minute, Senegal thought they had won it. A scramble in the box resulted in the ball hitting the back of the net, but Congolese referee Jean-Jacques Ndola blew his whistle. The goal was disallowed for a foul inside the penalty area. The Senegalese bench was furious, but the worst was yet to come. Just minutes later, in the 98th minute, deep into stoppage time, Morocco launched a desperate attack. A corner kick was swung in and Real Madrid star Brahim Diaz went down under a challenge from Senegal defender El Hadji Malick Diouf. Initially play continued, but then, the dreaded VAR intervention. Referee Ndola was called to the monitor. After a tense review, he pointed to the spot. Penalty for Morocco. The stadium erupted. Morocco was one kick away from ending half a century of heartbreak. But on the touchline, Senegal's head coach, Pep Tayo, made a decision that would ultimately cost his country the championship. Feeling robbed by the disallowed goal and the late penalty, Pep Tayo ordered his players to leave the pitch. This wasn't a threat, it was a full-blown walkout. Leaked audio from the VAR room later revealed the sheer panic among the officials. Referee Ndola can be heard saying, "They've decided to withdraw. I'll end the match." For nearly 20 minutes, the AFCON final was paralyzed. In the stands, the situation deteriorated. Senegalese fans, vastly outnumbered, began clashing with stewards, throwing chairs toward the pitch. And amidst this unprecedented delay, one of the most bizarre incidents in football history occurred. Moroccan ball boys also attempted to steal the towel of Senegal goalkeeper Edouard Mendy. Senegal's backup goalkeeper, Yvan Diouf, physically shielded Mendy's towel from the ball boys and Moroccan players. Finally, after intense pleading from Senegal captain Sadio Mane, the team agreed to return to the field. But the psychological damage of the 20-minute delay was already done. The delay was over. The ball was on the spot. Brahim Diaz stepped up. The weight of 40 million Moroccans rested on his shoulders. Perhaps his nerves were fried by the 20-minute wait. Perhaps he was overly confident. But what he did next defied belief. Diaz attempted a Panenka, a delicate chip down the middle of the goal. It was disastrously executed with Mendy barely moving to catch it. The stadium fell into a stunned silence. Senegal had survived. Galvanized by the miss, Senegal dominated extra time. In the 94th minute, Villarreal midfielder Pape Gueye unleashed a thunderous strike that tore past the Moroccan keeper. 1-0 to Senegal. They held on to the final whistle, lifting the trophy in a stadium filled with fury and disbelief. But as Senegal celebrated, the Royal Moroccan Football Federation was already drafting their legal paperwork. Morocco's argument was simple but devastatingly effective. They pointed to the CAF rulebook. Article 82 states that if a team withdraws from the competition or refuses to play before the regular end of the match without the authorization of the referee, it shall be considered the loser. Article 84 adds that this team will lose its match by 3-0. Initially, the CAF disciplinary board dismissed Morocco's protest, likely wanting to avoid the PR nightmare of overturning a final. But Morocco didn't back down. They escalated the case to the CAF appeal board. They argued that Senegal's 20-minute walkout fundamentally altered the match's normal course and directly impacted the players' performance, specifically Diaz's penalty miss. And that brings us to today. March 17, 2026. In a landmark ruling, the CAF appeal board overturned the original decision. They ruled that Senegal's walkout constituted a forfeit under Article 84. Just like that, the history books were rewritten. Morocco was declared the 2025 AFCON champions with an official scoreline of 3-0. But CAF didn't stop there. They handed out over $1 million in fines. The Senegalese FA was fined a staggering $615,000 for the walkout and fan behavior. Senegal's coach, Hopi Tayo, was slapped with a $100,000 personal fine and a 5-match ban for bringing the game into disrepute. But Morocco didn't escape punishment either. They were fined $315,000 for improper conduct, specifically citing the ball boys who tried to steal Mendy's towel and the fans who attempted to storm the pitch. The reaction in Senegal has been one of absolute outrage and defiance. Following the CAF appeal board's decision, the Senegalese Football Federation immediately labeled the ruling unacceptable and filed an appeal with the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Some Senegal players publicly mocked the decision, while the government called for an investigation into alleged corruption within CAF. However, CAF President Patrice Motsepe defended the decision. He emphasized that the ruling was made by an independent judicial body and must be respected to maintain the integrity of African football. He publicly called for trust in due process and acknowledged that the recent rulings have sparked a global debate about fairness, transparency, and consistency in African football. The 2025 AFCON final will forever be remembered as the craziest conclusion to a football tournament in history. A match won on the grass but lost in the fine print. Did CAF make the right call by strictly enforcing the rulebook? Or does stripping a team of a trophy 2 months after they won it destroy the integrity of the sport? Was Senegal robbed? Or did they forfeit their right to be champions the second they walked off that pitch?
It is important for us that ordinary football supporters and spectators in every one of the 54 countries in Africa, in their judgment, not in CAF's judgment, not in my judgment, regard the decisions of our judicial bodies as fair, with integrity and impartiality, and what is equally important, that they regard our referees, our VAR operators, and our match commissioners as people who are fair and just, and those decisions that are taken reflects the impartiality and independence that's critically important.